I'll go back to Nidhi in just a bit. But before that, Jessie, one view was that United Nations certainly, along with several other nations, could have put pressure on the US, but all that we saw was no real international action, but mere Twitter criticism. Would you also not say that after this verdict, United States soft power will be impacted, or are you of the opinion that it will have no ramifications at all? Because this has to do with human rights.
You know, I would be surprised if it does. I think that the US is fairly immune to international pressure on these sorts of things. And I think the international community also tends to give the US a pretty wide berth on these sorts of human rights issues, frankly. There are various other issues, for example, the death penalty, where the US is very much out of step with the international community in terms of its respect for human rights, and the U.S. continues to, play a significant role and continues to represent itself as a defender of human rights. So, I think that the options may be limited for those in the international community who really want to push back against the U.S.'s internal policies and human rights decisions, unfortunately.
Jessie, I also want to understand from you this entire decision from the point of view of religion. When a powerful Western country like the US makes a decision influenced by religion at the cost of human rights, it legitimizes such actions for other countries to take as well. Because it will have the broader social impact.
The US went in this backwards direction with respect to human rights, whereas many countries are, at this moment, liberalizing their abortion laws and rolling back restrictions that have been in place for many, many years. And so I think that, again, this is an example of where the US is out of step. I do think, although it is not exclusively a religious perspective, that the US has really been privileging the perspective of one particularly powerful religious sect in the US, and that those views are driving a lot of policy across the United States with reproductive rights, LGBT rights, and other sorts of issues. And I do think that this is part of a bigger cultural picture here in the ways that the US is really just retrenching on human rights.
And Michael, 45% of abortions globally are unsafe. Don't you think this overturning of the judgment will lead to a wave of illegal abortions? It will make or what we see as unsafe abortions, which will lead to higher fatality rates and other health risks.
No. Look, almost there's only a handful of countries in the world that allow abortion, late-term abortions. Most countries limit or restrict abortion. And I can only hope and pray that most countries have safe health care for men and women and children in their countries. If there's an unsafe abortion happening in another country, why? Where's the UN? Why aren't they there providing better doctors? In the United States of America, we have the greatest health care in the world. That doesn't happen here in the United States, and I hope and pray it doesn't happen in India either. You guys are better than that there. But at the end of the day, the UN is very biased. They're pro-abortion, and we frankly don't care what they have to say here in the United States of America. We believe that women are better than abortion. We believe that women are better than abortion in India, too. Abortion doesn't solve any problems. It just ends the life of an innocent
child.
Michael,
I disagree with you completely. When you say that women are better than abortion, that's not really the question. It is about a woman's right over her body, and that's where the entire primary focus should be. Nidhi, you heard from two sides of the discussion that's playing out in US. Yes, go ahead. What are you saying?
I totally disagree. I was going to the point that if you are not making it legal, people will travel, people will go to different countries, and people, the females who really want it will get it done. So you are somehow increasing illegal activities. And yes, abortion is not unsafe unsafe in trained hands. When we are talking about Indian laws, the amendment, so they have said that all the government institutions have the right. All the government institutions, the abortion should be done by proper gynecologists or the people who have experience in that field. So calling blanketly that abortion is unsafe, I disagree with it. I completely
Yes,
disagree.
and it will increase health risks as well.
Yes, if you are not allowing it in a proper setup, people will go to setups where it is allowed under the cover,
Yes.
and there they may not find a expert to do that. In those cases, yes, abortion will be unsafe, but in trained hands, it's not.
All right, Nidhi, Jasmine, Mr. Michael and Jessie Hill, thank you so much for joining us. That's all from me. I'll be seeing you next weekend with another episode of A Billion Ideas.